This video is sponsored by Filmconvert.
Hey everyone, Flo from After Lens here, and today I want to talk about how you can turn existing or test footage into an actual short documentary. So I recently collaborated on a midi documentary with a friend of mine, and it was the first time that the idea of making a documentary emerged after shooting the actual footage. And by the way, thank you so much for the positive feedback on this one, it really means a lot. So in this video I will talk about why I was filming in the first place. I will also do a short cinematography breakdown within this video. I will talk about how we ended up making this documentary, and I also want to talk about why it is important to sometimes create content like this. Filming short documentaries can be daunting at first, but I want to show you a different way to go about it, and hopefully it will inspire you to do the same. As always, before I start, don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this one, and let's get into it. So back in May last year, a very good friend of mine, Alex, came to France from Canada for a commercial shoot, and he asked me if I could assist him with the shoot, and of course I said yes. Then we went back to my house in the French Alps for a few days, just to relax and catch up. So at the time I was also testing out the Greyjoy 50mm anamorphic lens, and I was in need of test footage. Alex also wanted to shoot some 35mm stills of the French Alps, so I decided one morning to get up for sunrise and drive to the mountains to one of my favorite spots. So we spent a few hours filming, photographing and enjoying the views. And now let's talk about the footage. Since this was just test footage and it was also my first time shooting anamorphic, I just wanted to capture a bunch of different things. I wanted to film the landscapes, which I do a lot of, but since I had Alex with me, I also wanted to capture him in this setting. The fact that Alex was also taking stills with his beautiful Nikon FM2 really helped from a visual standpoint. Testing lenses is always fun, but it can be hard to find new things each time. I always want to capture similar content so I can compare the lenses, but I also want to try my best to bring something new with each test. So for this one I knew that I wanted to capture most of the content at sunrise. I used a 50mm on a BMPCC6K with a monitor so I could de-squeeze the image. And by the way, the review of the lens as well as all the gear mentioned in this video will be listed below. As we were shooting into the sun, I always made sure to put Alex between the light and the camera. Shooting with primes also forces you to move around a lot. I shot mostly wide open to get that anamorphic look, and I was using my Nisi R&D filters. In terms of composition, since it is an anamorphic lens, I always try to put the action of the subject at the center of the frame since the edges can get a bit soft. Shooting anamorphic with that wide aspect ratio allows you to fit more in a frame, and it also accentuates the views in that setting. The intention behind the shots was to try to capture as much as possible and to make it look as nice as possible as well. And also to keep in mind that I was testing the lens. And that meant shooting into the light, for example, or racking focus or things like that. And in terms of coverage, I was trying to get a good mix between him, the mountains, and the camera itself. I think overall we spent about 2 hours shooting in two main different spots until the light was too harsh. When I was filming, I knew that I wanted the footage to be quite dark and contrasty, so I had this look in mind already. And speaking of look, here's a quick word about today's sponsor, Filmconvert. As you can guess, all the footage in this video was graded using Filmconvert. Filmconvert enables you to add film color and grain to your videos. There are nearly 20 film stock to choose from, and you have real film grain, which gives you that authentic and organic look. For this particular footage, I wanted to retain that anamorphic look and the mood that I had in mind. I actually graded this footage twice, the first time for the lens review, which has a more neutral look, and the second time for the short documentary, and you can see the difference in the contrast, and the latest one has a lot more grain too. Being able to use film emulations for a project about 35mm stills photography shot in anamorphic made perfect sense. Last year I also made a dedicated video about my color grading process, so feel free to watch it, and be sure to check out the link in the description to get 10% off Filmconvert. As I was saying before, the footage was actually shot in May, and the documentary was only released a few weeks ago. That is because I never intended to make one, and it was only supposed to be test footage. It's only after looking properly at the footage that the idea of making something came up, and two things made it possible. So first, the footage was beautiful in my opinion, and I had quite a lot of it. And second is also that I could make something interesting from a visual point of view and also story-wise. Alex has always been shooting film photography, and he was doing it when he was with me. Maybe let's just make it about that. Simple. So I decided to run the idea past him that I wanted to make a short piece. He was super keen, and I told him that the main general idea behind it was why do you shoot film? Now Alex was already back in Canada, so the main issue was that we couldn't get additional footage, or at least I couldn't shoot more, and he had to be voiceover or he had to record himself in front of the camera. So I told him to think about it and I sent him a few questions, and because I already had the footage, I had to base my questions on the footage that I had. So for example, I knew that I wanted him to talk about the French Alps. And then he told me that he actually had some darkroom footage of him that he had shot for another project that could also fit ours. And I was like, okay, so if we do this, maybe let's just add a couple of questions about the darkroom, and I added them to the list. So already I was going from test footage to a documentary idea to additional footage. Now all we had to do is record the voiceover. So I sent the final list of questions to Alex and told him to record himself. Based on the footage that I had, I knew that we couldn't really get more than 2 or 3 minutes worth of voiceover. After a few days, he sent me the voiceover, and there were 2 files, one normal file and one that was recorded through a cassette player. So I didn't ask for that second file, but Alex is someone that is very knowledgeable about 35mm photography first, but he is also a very talented filmmaker and cinematographer, and he knows how to make documentaries. So he has a ton of experience. It chose to record the audio that way to add an analog feel to the piece, which really matched the topic and the visuals as well.
I shoot film primarily because it slows down the entire photographic process.
And during the edits, the other thing that I asked for was some stills, some of his favorite ones that he wanted me to share, and also some that he had taken during that morning. So from the time that I decided to make it a short documentary until the final edit, only 5 or 6 days had passed. So as you can see, even though the footage was shot as a test footage and we weren't actually physically together while making the documentary, we still made it happen. Now it is a piece that we can both use for portfolio, marketing, licensing, and it was also a fun collaborative effort, and of course a great memory as well. I hope that this video shows you that sometimes you don't need much to create something that you are proud to share, and something that can actually be useful for your career or just to push your creativity. You don't always need to have a sit-down interview and 2 hours of voiceover and hundreds of files. Sometimes an interesting subject, a bit of footage, and a short video can actually work. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, don't forget to subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you've ever created a piece just from existing or test footage. And also apologize for my voice, I've been sick for like 3 weeks now, but I still need to record videos and I can't seem to get rid of it, so sorry about that. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Also feel free to check out my ebook, Freelance Documentary Filmmaking, An Introduction, where you can find a streamlined but comprehensive overview from pre-production all the way to marketing, built on years of my own experience shooting short documentaries around the world. And if you are interested, I'm also doing filmmaking mentoring sessions where you can ask me anything about a wide variety of topics.